Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking about the human brain and its functions. Here I have a puzzle that includes the pieces of the brain as well as the functions on the back of it. As you can see here from the hypothalamus, it has those functions. And then as well at the bottom here, we also have the color is color coded to help know which part of the brain it is. So just a little background on the human brain. The brain is part of the central nervous system and it works with the peripheral nervous system. And the brain controls every part of our daily functions, and nerves from our brain reach to our face, our ears, our eyes, our nose, and our spinal cord. And our sensory nerves often get information from the environment around us, and that sends information to our spinal cord, which then speedily sends information to our brain. And then just like a formation of the brain, it's split into three major parts: the forebrain, the midbrain, and the hindbrain. In the forebrain is the cerebrum, the thalamus, and the hypothalamus. And the cerebrum is indicated right here by this green. The thalamus is this little beige right here, and then the hypothalamus is this black puzzle piece. The midbrain contains the tectum and the tegmentum, and then finally the hindbrain consists of the cerebellum, the pons, and the medulla. And the cerebellum is indicated right here by this brighter yellow piece, and then the pons and the medulla are indicated by this lighter green right here. So the first part I would like to talk about is the cerebrum, and it's considered the largest part of the brain, and often if you see people draw a picture of the brain, it's showed with these wrinkles, which is kind of indicated here, and that's just to increase the surface area. And the cerebrum is often associated with major brain functions such as action and thought, and the cerebral cortex contains what we call lobes, and there are 4 of those. And the first lobe I would like to talk about is the frontal lobe, and this is indicated by this darker green piece right here, and it's responsible for our parts of speech, our movement, emotions, and even problem solving. So if you flip this piece over, you will see that we have personality, motor movement, and expressive speech. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is the corpus callosum, and that is indicated here by this purple piece. The corpus callosum is responsible for the interaction between, your right hemisphere and your left hemisphere, and it integrates motor, sensory, and cognitive actions between the cerebral cortex on one side of the brain to the same region on the other side. So here's the corpus callosum, and if you flip this piece over, you will see that it says transfer info between the right and left hemispheres, which is what we just talked about. The next lobe I would like to talk about is the parietal lobe, and it is also associated with movement, but also orientation, recognition, and perception of stimuli. So it's this beige piece right here, and if you flip this over, you will see gross sensation and fine sensation. The third lobe we would like to talk about right here is the occipital lobe, and it's primarily responsible for personality, motor movement, as well as speech. And that is this red puzzle piece right here. If you flip it over, you will see the personality, motor movement, and speech indicated as its function. The last lobe that we will talk about is the temporal lobe, and it is linked to perception and recognition of auditory stimuli, as well as memory and speech. And the temporal lobe is indicated by this sort of navy color puzzle piece right here. And if you flip it over, you will see where it says understanding, hearing, behavior. So the next thing that I would like to talk about is the limbic system, which the thalamus and the hypothalamus, which is indicated right here, they're both part of the limbic system. And the limbic system is often known as the emotional brain. So first we're going to talk about the thalamus, which is this kind of beige color in the black puzzle piece right there. And the thalamus is responsible for sensory and motor purposes, and our functions are the movements of our bodies, such as moving our arms, legs, fingers, and the thalamus is often responsible for that. And then the hypothalamus is crucial in our everyday life, and this structure is responsible for functions such as homeostasis and emotion, hunger, thirst, as well as the pituitary. And the hypothalamus is mostly associated with our emotions, why we feel the way we do. Our hypothalamus is associated with our feelings of being sad, happy, mad, angry. So, the next time you feel upset, just blame that on your hypothalamus. And that is indicated right here by the black piece, and you will see where that says hormones and sensations. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is the cerebellum, and that is indicated here by this larger yellow piece right here. And it's responsible for our main voluntary movements, and that often includes, your posture, your balance, your coordination, and your speech. So if you flip this yellow piece over, you will see where that says coordination, and it also includes tone on the back of this as well as posture. The next thing that we're going to talk about is the pituitary gland. And the pituitary gland, the pons, and the medulla is all indicated by this lighter green. As you can see here on the key, it's all just kind of linked together. And it is part of the endocrine system, and that's responsible for our hormones, and that's what the pituitary gland does. And then second, pons, they relay signals from the forebrain to the cerebellum, and its primary function, deals with sleep, respiration, swallowing, bladder control, hearing, equilibrium, taste, eye movement, facial expressions, and posture. And so then the last thing that we're going to talk about is the medulla, and it's primarily responsible for maintaining important body functions such as our heart rate and breathing. And that is indicated by this lighter green right here. And as you can see, it says hormones, autonomic controls, and it transmits info. This last part, it doesn't have a function on the back of it. It's just kind of a filler piece for the puzzle. So I hope you guys enjoyed this presentation. I think it would be a really good idea if you ever have a test on labeling the brain or ever need to know its functions, to use this. It's really a fun way to study. And like I said, here's the key down here. So thank you so much for listening to my video, and Dr. Blair, I give you permission to use this in your other classes. Thanks.